What's going on, guys? So in today's video, I want to share with you some important things that I would consider before I became a real estate agent. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely stay tuned. So with that being said, I want to share a little bit about what my experience has been so that you all can make the best decision when it comes to who you're going to align yourself with, because I think that that is something that everybody just gets the misconception of. And I want to share my opinion. I have been licensed since the end of 2018 going on to 2019. I started at one of the best times, as we all know. COVID hit obviously shortly after. So it was definitely a lot of things that played a factor that, again, I wish somebody would have shared with me. I personally went through a bunch of videos online, and I just feel like there was like the same thing that kept talking about like, oh, make sure you're joining like a business that is going to have a credible name, because that's going to help you in establishing your credible name. And I'm here to tell you that is not the case. So I first started and I went with Century 21. The reason I went with Century 21 was because obviously I had heard everybody and their parents say, hey, you need a reputable brand behind you if you want to make it in this real estate game. I personally right now am one of the top agents in El Paso. I am a considered solo agent. Although I have team members, I don't actually consider their sales as mine. So in my overall sphere last year, I closed 69 transactions on my own, and I'm right now a multi-million-dollar producer. So I share from experience because I didn't start this way. And this is what I want to really make you guys consider. When it comes to real estate, a lot of the times you're going to hear everybody tell you, go and share this information with your sphere of influence. I just remember that was one of the things that for me personally, I was getting burned out by, because I was like, okay, like I need something tangible that I can actually go and do in order for me to grow. And it just wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. Like I kept saying like, well, what things can I do? And you need to keep in mind one thing, okay? A lot of the times, this is something I want you to consider, regardless of the brokerage you're going with. They are stuck in a prehistoric mindset. And let me explain what I mean by that. A lot of these older brokerages, they understand the importance of like social media, but for a lot of these older brokerages, like they already have a business portfolio going. They already have the certain people that are just trusted, and that's the people that they keep going to, and that's why their business keeps growing. And that's why for them, they think, yeah, sphere of influence is the thing, because they've already established a sphere of influence. I'm at that point now, thankfully, where I have a sphere of influence because I have some very amazing clients that just continue to trust me time and time again. They keep reaching out to me, whether it's they just bought a house and now they want to buy another one as an investment property, or they recommended me to somebody and their family member is not reaching out to me, or their friend, or maybe they're PCSing out of El Paso and now they need my help. These are all things that at one point I did not have. So I share that because a lot of these older brokerages, they have that concept because of the fact that that's what's worked for them when they first started. However, that's not what is helping people grow their business that are new to the business. And I remember that it got to the point where like my first year was just completely hard. And according to the National Association of Realtors, the first 2 years are the hardest in real estate for a real estate agent to stay in the industry. And I want you to think about that for a second, because a lot of realtors, if you ask them, like, unless they're flat out lying to you, they're usually averaging, and this is like mind blowing, but they're averaging about 2 to 5 transactions a year. The average realtor. Therefore, the average realtor is actually keeping their 9 to 5. A lot of them have like side gigs because they're not producing enough income to truly be able to stay in the industry, like selling sunset would picture the picture for you, okay? And I remember looking at that stat and just being like, what did I get myself into? Like I thought I was gonna make money here. But one thing that I personally always have believed in is your mindset. Your mind is your reality. So the moment you start feeding into the media of like the negative comments and just everything that's not going to work for you, that's what you're going to embody. So that's what's going to become part of who you are. So for me, I was really like, no, like I have to make this work. Like this is what I signed up for and I'm going to figure it out. So it took some time, but essentially I invested a lot of money into coaching programs. I invested a lot of money in the wrong places because some of them were scams, and they said they promised they were going to do one thing, but in reality they didn't deliver on that one thing that they said. So it was very overwhelming because I just remember not having money, and then the money I had, I was like investing it into the wrong resources, which we are going to call this shiny object syndrome. You are advertised by a bunch of marketing companies because obviously they know you're new. Obviously they know you need business. So they're going to start telling you all these plethora of things that could work for you. But in reality, most of them are not going to work for you if you don't have the right tools in place to even know how to communicate with these people. So with that, I started after that situation and the first year being hard, I actually started transitioning into understanding more social media and how I could use it to my advantage. So I share this with you because as I was in that older brokerage, they didn't have those tools available. I had to look for those tools on my own. And although there's a lot of brokerages out there, like for instance, I know that I'm not going to talk bad on any other brokerage. I'm just going to share my experience, but I know that there's brokerages out there that would offer like 100% commissions. And that to me at one point sounded very appealing, but then like they do nothing for you, like nothing. They don't give you any coaching. They don't give you any resources. They don't give you any apps that you can utilize that are going to help you with your business. So it just becomes like, okay, 100% of nothing is nothing, right? So with that being said, I started doing some research. I really wanted to align myself with the right people. And I started seeing how there was this like group of people that had this brokerage that essentially had made this impact on how they were growing on social media. So at one point in time, I went to like a brokerage that was like 100% commissions. After like starting to learn the ropes on my end, I didn't really need that much help from my brokerage at that point. I was like, I got this. I don't need more help. So I left Century 21. I went into 100% brokerage, and it was horrible because I didn't feel any support. Like no support. If I needed something, it was kind of like, well, you're 100%, like we're still going to charge you a transaction fee. And yeah, we have an office here that you can meet your clients in, but in reality, we're not going to do much more for you. So that obviously didn't work. And then from there, I learned about EXP, and EXP was one of the things that I was like, y'all kind of sound like something that I would consider like becoming part of. So I interviewed different people within EXP. I wanted to know like where their moral compass was, because that for me, energy is everything. And if we're not vibing, I just personally, I'm not going to learn from that situation, because I just feel like maybe our overall goal is not in alignment with what it is that I'm looking to achieve. So number one is definitely your brokerage, like where you are going to find your tribe. So when I first joined EXP, the reason I did that was because I had seen a bunch of posts by this guy that was just sharing wealth of information for free, like literally like videos what I'm doing right now. He was just sharing all his secrets that people would consider secrets, but he was just being so genuine and authentic and sharing what it is that was working for him, that I was like, okay, like I want to align myself with somebody like that. So shout out to Austin. If you're watching this video, thank you. But essentially what happened is that I said, you know what? I want to be around people that are in that situation, in that culture. So once I actually became part of EXP, I was there for maybe about, I'm going to say maybe like 4 months around there. I would have to check the charts. But then there was a new brokerage that was opening, and this is Real Broker. So the reason why I decided to move over was because of the people that were investing into Real Brokerage, what their culture stood for, and how they were gearing everything to really favor the agent. And if you're interested in a comparison video about how that worked out, I can definitely make one. This is not going to be the video for that. I just want to share that the team definitely took such an impact in my overall alignment, because I want to grow with people that are doing amazing things and that are even further along in their trajectory. I don't want to be around people that maybe haven't done the things that I aspire to do, because then I'm not growing, right? They say you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So if I'm hanging out with a bunch of people that are just doing 20 transactions a year, that's all I'm really going to aspire to be. But if I'm hanging out in the room with people that are making 100 transactions within their first like 2 months, I mean, it's like, okay, what are you guys doing? I want to learn more, right? So with that being said, I decided to embark in that journey. Now I have my own team within Real, and I have my own agency that I'm very proud of. And I've been able to implement a lot of the things that we have overall learned from our years in real estate, and then the new approaches that Real allows us to tap into, because they provide free resources as far as like trainings. They have, in the last conference that had Alex Hamorzi. I always botch his name, poor dude. I'll make sure I insert how you say his name. Hamonzi. But if you know him, he's like a marketing guru. And they're really investing into us as the agents to just have more resources to really grow. And I think that's very important wherever it is that you're gonna go. Like, it's nice to have an office, because I remember that was one of the key selling points that at one point when I first started in real estate really made me think like, I need an office in order for me to be successful. But I'm here to tell you that is not true. Like, when you're meeting with clients want to go and see a house. And if you're going to have a buyer consultation, you literally, after COVID, like, so many people just completely changed with the times. And I personally even encourage that even more for safety nowadays. But you can do a Zoom call. Now, for us personally, I know that we actually have like an office where we can meet, like, for instance, like our agents, but it's not something that is a requirement, because I honestly, like, I'm at my home office more times than I am even at that office. And my office is my car for me personally. Like, I'm always out and about, either it's with clients or whether it's like committee meetings that we have. And that is personally like my best advice I can give to you. Like, don't choose a brokerage just because they're giving you a nice shiny office for you to sit there and rot away, because you want to be out on the field. Like, that's the reality of it. Don't choose a brokerage just because they're telling you, hey, we are the listing agent for this builder and you're going to have a model home to go and sit. Because honestly, and I've heard this from multiple builder reps, they have not just builder reps, agents that represent the builder. They have mentioned, like, honestly, when I was a builder rep, like, yeah, I was amazing in everything. And I had a lot of business that I was able to eventually grow at one point in time. But once I lost that business because they either weren't the listing agent anymore, because that happens. Builders are not just going to stay committed to one listing agent forever. Like, they change just like anybody. So they lost a lot of their portfolio because they were so used to just getting business handed to them that they didn't know how to go and hunt for business anymore. And hunt is a crazy example in this situation, because in reality, once you start growing, like, clients are just going to continue to be attracted to you because of the morals and the values that you stand for. But in this example, when you're starting, you're hunting for new possibilities, right? New opportunities. So with that being said, do not choose somebody just based off what they're offering you in terms of a nice office or a situation where you're going to go and sit at a model home, because their same builder reps have said, like, honestly, I was sitting at a model home just rotting away because I was not getting any clients, and the clients that were coming in, they were already represented and they already had an agent, and they were looking at you like just really weird because they felt how hungry you were for that sale. So with that being said, definitely consider your brokerage. That's number one. Now, another thing I would have wished to consider before becoming a real estate agent, and things that I wish I would have known at the beginning of my trajectory, is actually if I wanted to be a solo agent or if I wanted to go under a team. So let me explain what that means. So once you decide what brokerage you want to be in, some of those brokerages are going to have teams. Now, when you join a team, they are going to ask you they're going to interview you. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like, some people will say, like, oh, when you're looking for a brokerage, you're interviewing them. And that is 100% true. But when you're joining a team, depending on the team that you're joining, they're going to interview you. Like, I do not just accept anybody into our team, because I want to make sure that we're in alignment. I don't want to promise you something that I cannot deliver on. If you already don't believe in yourself, like, I can't force you to believe in yourself. However, if you're a go-getter and you've been able to achieve other things in your life because you set yourself with an intention and you know you're going to achieve it, even if you don't know what you need to do yet, then we can talk, right? Because you have that aspiration, you have that hustle in you. So when you are going to join a team, you will be interviewed because the person wants to make sure that they can give you what you need, right? So a lot of the times, there's two ways that can go. Either the team will tell you, hey, all the sales are going to go directly under the team leader, which for me, I just don't like that. I think that takes away from you growing. So for me, I personally don't do that with my team members. If they want to be in our team where we're going to give them a lead, the lead, if they work that deal, it's going to be under them. I want them to start growing so that eventually they can have their own team. You following? So make sure you ask that question, like, are all the deals going to be run under your name, or are they going to be run under my name? Now, that is super important because, like I said, you want to start growing, obviously, right? Like, I remember there's this team here in El Paso where all the sales go under that one person. And I'm like, when they told me that, I was like, that is ridiculous. Like, this dude is over here making a name for himself, and like everywhere it's like, oh, something something team, but then like his team members are going unnoticed, which in reality, like, it's them that are out in the field and taking care of these clients. Like, some of these clients had told me, oh no, we fired them because like they weren't even, like, I never actually received what they had promised me, or I never was actually in a situation where the client, where like the team leader even like took the time to call me. And if that's the case, then you should have your actual agent be the one to get credit for that. I don't know, that's just the way I think. But with that being said, definitely ask that question, and it's going to lead to that being the first way that a team can be ran. And the second way that a team can be ran is, let's say I tell you, hey, okay, we definitely are in alignment with what you're looking for. I can definitely give you these tools for you to succeed. This is what you need to do. Now, if you want me to provide you a lead, depending on where your knowledge is in real estate, because you have to keep in mind, we're putting money into these leads, right? Like, I personally have a lot of organic traffic at this point. If you don't know what organic traffic is, it's essentially leads that you've been able to get organically without having to pay any money into it. And if you're interested in a video about that, definitely leave me a comment down below so we can talk about that too in another video. But essentially, it is something that now we're paying money into getting a campaign going so that we can get leads funneled in. And then from there, we need to scrub them. And then from there, if it's an actual client that could potentially work, like, now we're going to assign it to an agent that really has the opportunity to nurture them the way that the client deserves, and be able to also deliver on what we are looking for, right? Because if I give you a hot lead, literally ready to go, and you don't know what like answers to give the client when they're asking you questions, you just completely bomb that lead, right? So that's why a lot of newer agents, they do a lot of scrubbing with older leads in order for them to really get to the point where now they're comfortable getting on calls and talking to people in order for them to really deliver on those hot leads being ready to go, right? So depending on the structure that you have going on with your team leader, they're either going to give you maybe depending, again, like I said, everybody's different, but for most of us, like, if we gave you the lead and all you had to do was really, like, at that point in time, like, nurture the lead and essentially like show them houses, we are going to take the most part of that deal because we are the ones that got the lead. We are the ones that still got the transaction coordinator to coordinate the documents, which also is another key component. My gosh, I remember once upon a time thinking like, no, I don't want to have a transaction coordinator. It's going to take money from my check. I don't want that. I would not get rid of my transaction coordinator. I have a transaction coordinator now and an assistant, and I'm looking for now another showing partner just to really like tackle things on. But essentially, like, you start growing in your business to the point where you know, like, okay, this is the best money that I could invest because it's going to help me to now focus on other income producing activities. So definitely something super important to consider. Now, another thing there is that depending on, again, that's where number 2 now, right? Aligning yourself with the right team, whether you want to be a solo agent or whether you want to be in an actual team, just ask the question, you know, like, okay, you know what, maybe I would like to be in your team for the first, I don't know, 6 months while I learn the ropes, but eventually I would want to transition out of it. Which honestly, guys, if you are finding yourself with the right people, like, a leader wants for them to, they want to teach you how to be a leader. That's the reality. Like, no leader wants to just stay at the top. Like, they want to bring other people with them at the top because that's the way that you grow as an organization, as a community. So if you are in a situation where your team leader doesn't want you to grow and doesn't want you to like get your own team at one point, it's like, do you really want to work with that person, right? So definitely something to consider. And number three, I would say, is how do you establish credibility? Now, for credibility, that is something that I personally think a lot of the times it can be daunting because you're like, well, I don't have a credibility. But you need to find credibility from other things that you've done in your life, okay? Like whether that was the fact that at one point in time you were working in sales and you were just a very amazing agent in that industry, or whether it was the fact that you were working a 9 to 5 and you were great at management skills, whatever it is, like you really want to tap into what those key points look like for you. So I'm going to use myself as an example. Like at the beginning, I had just gotten started. I was in the life and health insurance industry prior to that. And I shared a little bit about my story in a recent podcast that I made. So if you're interested in that, I'll have my assistant link the information down below. So definitely stay tuned if you're interested in more of those. But I remember that I was just completely like, again, in a completely different world. I didn't know much about real estate. And I wanted to establish credibility, yet I didn't know what was going to be that key point for me. Well, my family is military background, so I really grew this passion for wanting to help military families. So what I started doing was that I aligned myself with another agent that was actually active military, and we kind of without being a team, we kind of became a team. So he saw my drive, I saw his drive, and whenever he was busy and he couldn't take care of one of his clients that was, again, military, he would recommend me for me to go help. I was giving him the majority of the commission because, again, he was sending me that lead. I did not care. Like, again, 100% of nothing is nothing. So when you're starting, don't be greedy. Just don't be greedy because, again, it's going to all come back to you as you continue to grow. But at the beginning, you're learning the ropes. It's like if you had a business and, your employee wanted to take 100% of the business and you're like, wait, I'm trying to hire you for my business to keep growing, and I'm giving you the opportunity. So I'm not going to give you 100% of the business, right? So I saw it that way. I was like, I'm thankful. Thank you so much. Yes, I love the fact that I'm getting an opportunity. So I started actually going and building my credibility with real estate in the military background field. So that was something that for me really was one of the niches that I had, and especially first-time home buyers. So I invested in this program that really taught me how to organically start growing more of my audience organically. So again, we go back to the first thing, right? If you already start with the right team, with the right brokerage, you are going to cut so much of that unnecessary expense than you would have to, because people, if you're aligning with them, they're going to tell you look, do this and this and this and this, and this is how you want to start. Okay, execute on those, and then let's talk again, right? So this would be my key 3 points for you to start growing and establishing those overall key components in your real estate career. Don't give up. Don't let anybody tell you that it is a impossible field, or that it is too hard, or that only people that have been doing this with generation after generation of their families are going to be successful, because that is not true. Like I said, I am currently consistently generating over 6 figures in only my real estate career. Now I'm also an investor, so I do buy houses. Either I flip them or I wholesale them. I have an Airbnb now. I'm looking to buy my next Airbnb. I've just been really blessed. And I share this not from a situation of oh, look at what I got. No, because I came from nothing. And real estate gave me the opportunity to grow. So I just wanted to share this with most of you all. If you guys are interested also in learning more about Real Brokerage and our team, definitely reach out. We would love to get on a call and answer any of your questions. And if there's any more videos that you would like to see, please let us know. I'm definitely going to start a playlist around this because I feel like there's a lot of things that I wish I would have known, and I want to share some overall feedback there. So anyways, with that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you on the next one.